Right, so I will get started and people can come in slowly. So first of all, thank you so much for coming today to our How to Find Your Own Internship info session presented by the Arts Internship Office and the Internship Offices Network. So this session is really for you to hear some firsthand experiences from fellow students who have found their internship independently in the past. So first of all, I will present the agenda very briefly. So I'll introduce first the purpose of this info session, as well as some of the Arts Internship Office and the Internship Offices Network services. Then Catherine from the Arts Internship Office will tell you a little bit about AIO awards, and in particular, the goal of her presentation is really to break the myth that because you found your internship by yourself, you cannot get funding or an award from McGill. You can. Then 7 students who have found their own internship in 7 different ways will basically tell you how they did it. And then at the end, please stick around and they will be available to you in breakout rooms to answer all your questions in small little Q&A sessions in which you could have some more time to chat together as well as with AIO staff. So very briefly, the services, the purpose of today's event and services of ION and AIO. So our offices provide you with events, such as this one, to prepare you for internship applications and help you out in the process. So the last one of our How to Get an Internship month will be on November 19, which is this Thursday, and it's called How to Ace a Video Interview, and it's really to help you with your applications. Then on AIO and ION website, you can also find a lot of information as well as postings about internship. So we are hoping that all our postings will be updated in January 2021. So stick around, they will come out. But here, this session really we want to give you some guidance on how to find an internship if you want to go beyond the opportunities available on those websites. And if you maybe you have a specific organization in mind where you'd like to apply for an internship. So how do you approach them? How do you search for an internship independently? Can you still be funded by your faculty's internship office if you find your internship independently? So to answer all these questions, I will open the floor to AIO officer Catherine Kwong, who will let you know about awards and funding, as well as to 7 students who have found their internship independently. So Catherine, you can go.
Yes, thank you so much, Leah. So I will briefly introduce the internship funding opportunities for Faculty of Arts students. And again, if you are not an art student, you can also reach out to the internship office in your own faculty to find out if there is funding opportunity for you. And if you're not sure who to contact, you can also write to us and we can direct you to the right person. So the Art Internship Awards are established by generous McGill alumni and AUS, Art Undergraduate Society. The award is designed to support our students to gain practical experience through summer internships. For example, some of you may be looking for opportunities to work with local or international non-profit organization in the summer, or you're majoring in art history and you want to have work experience with gallery or museum, or you want to work with startup, let's say. It is possible that the internship positions that are provided by these organizations are unfortunately unpaid or with very little living allowance. So without financial support while doing an internship or volunteer work, it could be quite challenging and stressful for many people. So we hope that the Arts Internship Awards can help you gain extra curriculum experience in your field of study without worrying too much about the financial constraint. So this is a very inclusive award that is open to returning art students who have a summer internship offer. If you want to learn more about the eligibilities and how to apply, please feel free to ask us during the breakout rooms or schedule an appointment with us and we will be able to guide you through the process. And apart from the Arts Internship Awards, there is also Arts Undergraduate Research Internship Awards. So we call it ARIA for short. This is an award that supports undergraduate students to do research under direct supervision of a McGill professor during the summer for 11 weeks. This is also a great opportunity for those who want to have first-hand research experience or for those who are preparing for their graduate studies. And if you are interested in knowing about more, we'll be happy to discuss with you during QA. But I won't go into too many details today, as we want to leave more time for the very exciting speeches given by 7 speakers, our past AIO interns, and the following breakout rooms, where you can ask any question that you may have. So let's welcome our first speaker, Luc Puget, who did an internship with Group URD in the summer.
Thank you, Catherine, for that lovely introduction. I'm sorry if I look absolutely exhausted, by the way. This is the earliest I've woken up all semester, and my body is not having any of it. But anyways, as she mentioned, my name is Luc Puget. I'm a 4th year U3 undergraduate student pursuing an honors in international development studies with minors in Hispanic studies and operations management. This summer, I was able to independently find an internship at the Group URD, a humanitarian think tank located just 25 kilometers away from my family's home in the south of France. So while working at that prestigious and renowned think tank, I was responsible first for assisting in the translation of the publications that they produced through their COVID-19 observatory, before being entrusted with the additional responsibility of co-authoring 2 briefing notes on adapting humanitarian and developmental response to a COVID-19 context. Now, I know many of you are curious about how to go about finding your own internship to jumpstart your very own professional career in the field you're passionate about. Personally, I want to reinforce one word and one word only. In many arts fields, it's, as in other fields, it's all about the connections that you have. As I'm sure many of my fellow speakers will or would agree, being able to leverage the networks you have and to create additional ones is a key tool in anyone's search for an internship. And no, I don't just mean the like my daddy has money kind of connections. I mean reaching out to everyone, even people you've never met before. So growing up, we are often told about the power of the connections we have and the need for maintaining the links we have with others. You never know who will be the person who will help you get that next job or even that dream job you've been hoping for. The problem is, as college students, most of us interact mostly with other college students and maybe professors and friends. Right now, none of your friends realistically have the power to sway a hiring decision one way or the other. And you may think your network is just too small to actually help, but that's not really true. The fact that most of your friends are still in uni does not mean that networking is irrelevant in your search for that internship. In fact, it was the basis of my job search this summer. I reached out to anyone and everyone I thought could help, from old soccer coaches to professors to friends' parents. And at the end, it was my younger brother's scout leader, who I didn't know at all. Like I'd never met him before, who referred me and recommended me as an intern to fill an open position at the Groupe URD, despite having, once again, never met me. It just goes to show, you never know who will help you find that internship. Don't be shy to ask anyone and everyone. You never know who will know something. This is especially true in a COVID-19 context. People are more in need of connecting to other people and to interact with others than ever before. So take the chance to reach out to someone, brighten both your day and theirs, and potentially help yourself or them along in that search for an internship or a job down the line. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. I look forward to potentially talking to some of you in the breakout rooms later, or feel free to add me on Facebook or LinkedIn to ask me any questions you may have, or just to chat. Thanks everyone. I'll pass it over to the next speaker.
Yeah, I will introduce the next speaker very quickly. So our next speaker is Elisa Yadal, who did an internship with Remix Snacks. Thank you so much, Elisa.
Thanks, Leah. So hi guys. I am a final year U4 International Development Studies major. I have 2 minors, one in global health and another one in social entrepreneurship. And over the summer, I was a research assistant for a COVID-19 study at McGill. And I was also a marketing and project management intern for a McGill alumni-led startup called Remix Snacks in the retail food industry. So today I have 2 main points I'd like to offer regarding searching for an internship. One is being organized and planning ahead, and 2 is having informational interviews. So for my first point, organization and planning. Different firms and different industries have different hiring timelines. As an example, the Government of Canada can take several months to process their hiring. They're very bureaucratic, so I'd highly recommend applying to their ongoing student recruitment inventory as soon as you can. Doing your research is really important because it prevents you from missing out on opportunities. As such, I'd recommend setting up job alerts. Most companies have this functionality on their careers page. I also recognize that COVID-19 has made the job search process a little bit more difficult. As a personal anecdote, I found my internship opportunity through the McGill Jobs and Internships Facebook page. And this was after 2 to 3 pretty good internship opportunities canceled on me because of COVID-19 last spring. So persistence is really important. You want to apply to as many positions as you can, and this will literally just increase your odds of receiving an interview offer in return. Also be flexible. I think now more than ever, being open to opportunities in fields that you wouldn't have previously considered could be a really great learning opportunity. Again, for example, for my summer internship, I wasn't planning on working in the retail food industry at a startup, but that experience was really valuable, and I was able to apply my education and social entrepreneurship into a real world setting. Second, informational interviews. This is the best way to know about the field you're looking to work in. You can speak to people who can speak to the recruitment process for different hiring firms. They can even tell you the skill sets that firms are looking for, and they'll also tell you their hiring timelines. So I'd recommend emailing CAPS, and any career advisor there will share the informational interview questions document with you. And this is a great document that I still use today when I have informational interviews with people. It's a great list of questions to just prompt thinking points for people you speak with. So in conclusion, I want you to think about your employable skills that you'll have once you graduate and try and gain experiences that can help you gain those skills over time. The emphasis should not be on how well known the organization that you're looking to intern at is, but rather the quality of the experience you're planning on getting. And with that, I'd like to thank the generosity of art students for funding my summer experience through the Art Student Employment Fund. And I look forward to speaking to some of you in the breakout rooms. As a side note, I had about 8 minutes of information prepared. Leah can attest to that. So I really have a lot of information to share with you guys, and I look forward to meeting you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Yes, if you have any questions, reach out to Elisa because she had a lot more information than this to share with you. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to welcome Michelle Hahn-Baker, who did an internship at the Secretariat of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for having me. So my name is Michelle Hahn-Baker, and I'm in my last semester of Honors English Literature with a minor in Communication Studies. So I'm here because I've actually done 2 internships with the United Nations Environment Program in the summers of 2019 and 2020. My first internship was with IPIS, which is an intergovernmental science policy platform that's based in Bonn, Germany. And my second internship was this past summer with the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, which is based in Montreal, but of course I worked from home because of COVID. So during both internships, I worked with the communications teams, which meant that I managed multiple social media accounts, assisted with press releases and statements, and I got to support a lot of events as well. I found both internships on my own through the UN's Human Resources Portal, which is called Inspira, and then I ultimately received funding from the Arts Internship Office. I really loved both my internships, and some of my highlights included getting to meet the head of the UN Environment Program, running multiple successful social media campaigns, and this September I actually found out that IPIS was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, which was really cool. So in terms of my advice for finding a successful internship, I really recommend that you start as early as possible, especially if you're planning on applying for funding. Be aware that internship coordinators are working on their own schedules to fill the needs of their organization. And this sometimes means that they'll really take their time with finding interns, this is especially true within the UN system, I found. So I really recommend starting as soon as possible, definitely over the winter break if you can. And so then my second tip is to really do your research and figure out what organizations you want to work with. LinkedIn is a great resource for this, as you can usually find the people who work for these organizations, and you might even be able to get in contact with the previous intern and ask them your questions. And also ask yourself questions like if you want to work with a large team or a small one, if you want to interact with the community, like a community, or work more internally with people. And then you can also investigate the projects being led by the organization you're interested in and try to imagine how you might contribute to those projects, and also ask yourself why you want to. And also showing that you've done this kind of research and taking the time to write cover letters that are tailored to the organization is probably the best way to stand out and make a good first impression. All of this can be very time consuming, of course, but I promise it's worth it. So study the mission statement of the organization, find out about the work they do, and talk about that in your cover letter, while also integrating and working in keywords from the job posting. So then my last tip is to recognize the value of your work, even during the application process, which I think is especially important in a COVID context when we're all working from home. An internship is more than just a learning opportunity. You're also going to be contributing to the organization that you work for. So keep in mind that ideally these organizations aren't just doing you a favor, and don't commit to an organization that seems like it might disregard your contributions. In practice, that means asking questions during the application and interview process about what will be expected of you, what the work is like, and what the work environment is like. And then also don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone a bit and try new things outside of your educational field. Like for instance, I study literature, but I really wanted to see what the UN was like, so I took a chance and applied, and it definitely worked out well for me. So yeah, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for all this great advice. I would like to introduce now Munisriche Mafusire, who is AIO staff and student speaker. So if you want to speak to him in a Q&A session, he'll have lots of answers. He did an internship at Canada Africa Business Chamber and found it independently, and will tell you how.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Leah, for the introduction. So my name is Mune. I'm currently studying and honors with 2 minors in social entrepreneurship and African studies. This summer I had the opportunity to intern with the Canada Africa Chamber of Business. My role was involved strategy and policy. I know that this title may seem big, but I think mostly what you find with a lot of organizations is about finding your angle and creating your angle. And essentially what I did was identify key partnerships, as the chamber is always trying to diversify its network. Wrote policy briefs, and this semester I'm actually working with the prof in terms of developing a policy brief that will be pitched towards the chamber. Thirdly, I also assisted in day-to-day tasks, which is a lot of emailing and a lot of administrative things within the organization. So in terms of my internship and how I found my internship, firstly, the main thing that I think everybody has sort of mentioned so far is do your research. I think it's important to sort of know your interests and be able to develop organizations that would fulfill those interests. And secondly, one of the things that I would recommend as well is, again, send in a combination of emails, LinkedIn messages, based on the research which you would have carried out. The main thing is a lot of people won't respond, but you also get a lot of positive responses as well. So I think it's also just important to continue to have that persistence and moving forward. And thirdly, in my emails and even just in LinkedIn messages, one of the things that I recommend is to attach your most up-to-date resume. Just it makes it easier for whoever is hiring or whoever is sort of interested in bringing you into the organization to have a list or an understanding of what you've done in the past. The other thing as well that I would mention as well, it's important to try and secure a video call. This was one of my personal tips. Just always try and secure a video call. It makes you seem more personable if you can actually interact with the person face to face. And when you do come into the video call, make sure that you've done your homework, thoroughly understand the organization, and also identify gaps within the organization to see how you may offer value. The other thing as well is, if an organization is not hiring or you speak to someone and they are not interested in taking you on immediately, I think it's always important to leave a door open. So mentioning if they may have offers in the near future, kindly reach out to me. or they may be able to recommend you to an organization that they may be aware of. And then the last thing, I think in the context of COVID, it was an interesting opportunity to work from home, and I think that's where the world is going anyway. So that was a very interesting aspect of it. And then more importantly, I think it helped sort of define or inform my career goals moving forward. And I think that would be it for me. And looking forward to speaking with you guys in the breakout rooms.
Thank you so much, Mune, for all this advice. I'm sure it was all really, really useful and with different situations. So thanks so much. Don't hesitate to go to the breakout rooms to ask questions to Mune. And now we have our next speaker, Zachary Couture, who did an internship at the Islamic Family and Social Services Association. Thank you so much, Zachary.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Am I lagging or anything? Awesome. Okay, so hi, my name is Zach Jericho. I am a third-year student pursuing a joint honors in poli-sci and Islamic studies. So today I want to talk about a different way you guys can get an internship. So a lot of people think of an internship, you know, they look at a website, they got to find the application, they have to go through the interview process. Like that's how they think of how that path to finding an internship goes. But that's not always the case. So I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can basically create your own internship. So I'm going to start with my story. So last spring, following the official announcement of the pandemic, all my summer plans got canceled. And it wasn't until mid-May that my friend told me about this really cool remote summer job opportunity that I could pursue. So that summer job was with a company called the Islamic Family and Social Services Association, IFSA. I'm going to be calling it that from here on out because it's a long name. So IFSA is a grassroots local nonprofit in Edmonton, and they do a lot of community support services, but they mainly try to work to help the Edmonton refugee community. So I had prepared for weeks for an interview with IFSA for their summer job, and I had drafted, you know, a lot of different project proposals as part of that interview. One of those projects that was going to be an online storytelling and theater workshop for refugee and newcomer youth. So unfortunately, I did not get that job with IFSA that I applied for, but that doesn't mean my story with them ended there. So in their official rejection letter to me, and I think you guys all know those were kind of rejection letters, like, you know, you were really great, but we went with someone else. So in that email, they told me that they really, really loved my online youth workshop idea, and they were hopeful if in the off occurrence that they might get additional funding, that I could run that program with them. So they wanted to keep me in the loop. So that was basically my open door right there. And I contacted them back and I told IFSA, I know how I could be financed to work with them. If we could turn my original project idea basically into an internship, and we called it an internship, and we filled out some forms together, the AIO office at McGill could offer me a scholarship to do this newly created internship. So the point of my story is that, you know, it is completely possible to make your own internship altogether. You don't necessarily need to be looking for if an organization has an internship posting, if, you know, there's an application process. Obviously do that, but, you know, it's also worthwhile to reach out to organizations you already know or who do work that interests you, particularly if they're grassroots, and propose a project. If your project is solid and you can establish your credentials, most organizations are going to have a difficult time saying no to you, especially when you can be entirely funded through scholarships from the AIO office. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zachary, for this advice and for showing people that, yeah, there are so many different ways to get an internship. So thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce Kai Trots-Motain, who did an internship with Red Thread. Thank you so much, Kai.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, as I was introduced, my name is Kai Trots-Motain. I'm a fourth-year U3 student pursuing a joint honors in History and African Studies and a double minor in Political Science and Communications. This summer, I interned at a non-government organization called Red Thread Women's Center, a female empowerment group located in Georgetown, Guyana, a small country on the northern tip of South America. Going into the internship, I was going to be both organizing archives and preparing them to be digitized and as well as working on a summer camp in the name of the late founder and die with the women at the organization. Due to COVID, this obviously changed. There wasn't a summer camp, and I wasn't able to go down and actually organize the archives. So what instead happened was I basically created a website from scratch, working with another intern, as well as kind of creating a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and kind of having workshops with the women on like how to use them and how to kind of market the organization. Though I was not expecting this experience, it was a great experience nonetheless, where I was able to meet the women and hear stories and their experiences I wouldn't have heard otherwise. I think my favorite part of this internship was being able to interview the women, which was something that was kind of created on the way, which wasn't initially part of my initial internship. So I think the tips for an independent research, at least one based on my experience, is to be understanding and patient. For the organization that I worked with, as it was grassroots, many of the women had a lot of other responsibilities just beside working at this organization. The organization itself was underfunded and underpaid for all the work they do. And I would often send an email expecting a quick response without realizing that for many of the people I worked with, this job was just one of many things they had to do, especially in a country where internet access isn't always available all the time. Research, I would say, is also important, as everyone else said before. It's not only important because it prepares you for potential interviews, but it also informs you on the experience, what the experience may be like, what you may be doing, and what you will learn from the opportunity. I think what is often difficult for me personally is figuring out what I want to do with my time. So at least 4 months ahead, I was researching where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. What I had known is that I wanted to be in Latin America and the Caribbean, and I wanted to be working at a grassroots organization. Because it is where my family's from, there was some comfort, but because I would be there for an extended period of time, it was stepping out of my box. I think also different from many other places, in Latin America and the Caribbean, for many organizations, they don't receive a large amount of funding, as I said before, and they will not post internship opportunities because in many of those places, unpaid internships are uncommon. It's actually just like culturally different to think of like working for free. It is a weird concept, but of course, with McGill, you do have the opportunity to apply for funding. I would say similar to the person who spoke right before me, just because an internship is not posted does not mean there isn't an opportunity available. So I'd say go out of your way and ask if there is a possible opportunity, which is what I did, is I basically researched grassroots organizations and I said, is there any work that I would be able to do? And a lot of them actually really, really wanted people to come in. It's just that they don't have funding to provide and pay you adequately. Additionally, because of COVID, I was given a lot of independence that I did not expect. So I'd say organization is important, like very, very important once you have your internship. I think for many other people as well, COVID was a very scary time in our lives. And though it was under different circumstances, to receive this internship this summer was an incredible experience. In the week or two leading up to the beginning of my internship, I was unable to leave my house and was constantly feeling antsy for I didn't have much to do. I think especially with COVID, when the opportunity to work is so scarce, it made me very grateful to have the opportunity to participate in such a great internship and meet so many amazing people, even if it was online. So yes, there's a lot of experience I can share, and I can definitely offer advice for finding an internship that isn't necessarily there.
Thank you so much, Kai. And I think this is such an important point of if the internship is not there, to contact people. I think your story is very encouraging for that. So thank you very much. And if you have more questions for Kai, please go to the Q&A session. Now I would like to introduce Jenna Landgraf, who did an internship at the Green Stop.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Jenna. I am an environmental studies major and minoring in social entrepreneurship. I interned at the Green Stop last summer, and I mostly want to focus on how exactly I found that. My biggest takeaway is going to be to leverage Facebook groups and like online resources. So I initially applied to a bunch of the arts internship offers for internships and didn't get any of them, which is totally fine. There's so many people who apply to them, so that just makes finding your own internship even more important and knowing how to do so. So I am part of a few student groups on campus and followed their Facebook pages. And then I think it was in February or so, one of the groups, the Desotel Sustainability Network, posted a advertisement, like super short clip, saying that this company, the Green Stop, was looking for an intern. And after doing some research on the company, I realized that they're a startup. There's actually one person. It's like a one-man band. It's just the founder of the organization. They started a year ago, so I realized that they would probably have very minimal access to funding. So when reaching out to this organization, I cold emailed her. I said right away that I would have potential funding from the Arts Internship Office. And I think this is what helped me get the phone call with her right afterwards, because she understood that this funding was such a vital source for her. So that was really great. And then other than that, I would really recommend, like I said, you have to see what your interests are and then follow those groups, whether it be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn I haven't dabbled too much with, but at least Facebook groups. And then postings will come up. You can also do your own research in the city or wherever you want to be working for that summer. Honestly, with COVID, you have a lot bigger scope because you know you're probably going to be working remotely. So you could be looking, even if you're not planning on going to Germany, but you've been studying German, you can look for internships there because you know you're not going to have the costs associated with going there this summer. So look at those organizations that you want to potentially work for and then emailing them. I'd say, like other people have been saying, as many as possible, and leverage the funding access that you have through the Arts Internship Office. That is a great resource, and I believe the application for that is around March. So you want to ideally have that opportunity lined up ahead of time so you can go with the funding if possible. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, I can talk more about the internship itself, but I really wanted to leverage the Facebook groups, reach out as early as possible, and don't be afraid. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jenna. That was really helpful advice too. And please stick around to ask Jenna a lot of questions about how to find an internship also through Facebook. So I would like to mention very quickly something that comes out of all these presentations, and I think is an amazing point, is if an internship doesn't exist, you can still reach out to people and kind of make it happen. And how do you do that? Because that can seem really, really scary, and you don't really know what to include in that first communication, whether it's through LinkedIn or in person, and a lot of our students have done it in very different ways. And I have in the past done it in different ways as well. So it depends on how long you have. Like, do you have time to just chat with a person about themselves, like do an informational interview first, and then very slowly come to a maybe I could do an internship, or do you want an internship very soon? So there are a lot of different techniques. It depends on your time, your personality, what kind of internship you're looking for. But one point with an internship to keep in mind is that it's not necessarily as sensitive as a job. When you do ask for a job to a person, you really have to, kind of get to know them first and not just email them and be like, hey, I want a job. That's not gonna go very well. But with an internship, because what you are saying is basically, hi, I am extremely interested in your work, your organization, and I want to learn from you. You're not saying, I want to work and get money. You're saying these three things. I want to learn from you, and this is why. So I think this already is a lot easier to approach. And then if on top of that, you mentioned that your university does offer an award that you could apply to, it might make it easier to make the connection, as they won't be automatically worried about how much this is going to cost their company or their organization. So it really shows that you're contacting them for their learning experience that is an internship. So in the email, of course, don't just say, I want an internship, but you can say it within the email and make it a mini cover letter. I insist on mini. Don't send a whole page in an email to someone you don't know, because they won't open it. Ask yourself, would I open that? Maybe not. So state your interest in like 6 lines. say why you're interested in this organization in particular. How long have you been looking at their posts, their publications, their whatever, and really show why you're interested in their organization, to the point that even if they don't have an internship, you're ready to ask for one and to kind of create it from scratch, even if they don't have everything figured out. So I think people might not answer, but other people might be very flattered and wow, like, you know, even if this person didn't find a posting, they really want an internship with us this bad and learn from us this bad. So do write these cold call emails with a statement of interest inside. And then whether or not to include your CV in that email, I think it's a matter of circumstance. And I think Mune was very right in saying that it does save time and it prevents some back and forth. So do include it. But if you do, make sure you really state your interest. Don't send just one line, hi, let's connect, with your CV attached. Like, would you open that? I'm not sure. So ask yourself that. So this was the last piece of advice from me. So now you can keep in touch with us, with the Arts Internship Office and with the Internship Offices Network. If you're not an art student, please send an email to me at ion@mcgill.ca, and I will help you get in touch with your faculty's internship office. And now we will have breakout rooms.